Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Oh my goodness. Welcome to the Casual Chat. We are on Hamilton Radio, and you can find us at hamiltonradio.net. And we are also on Facebook. A surprise for my co-host and my wonderful sister from another mister. Since we don't have a new theme song yet, since Mr. Panting and Teams with Dreams is not here anymore because he's in Florida, we thought we'd use your music
Thank
today.
you, girl. Thank you.
I want you to tell everyone about your book since we used your music. Let's
Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smart ass than a dumbass. Because, guys, over 33 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, 33 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now, I'm a smart ass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey. And that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this, guys. I know a lot of people out there are struggling, and I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm also a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. I'm here to help you. Please, please reach out. Okay, Geri Petito. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. You can email me at www.jdgeri, Geri, at AOL.com. What would Jesus do, Geri? At AOL.com. Keeps me grounded, guys. And if you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and also my website. And guys, listen, if you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help you. Thank you, my sister from another mister.
So, everyone, I'm Ava Holly, and this is International Internet Radio Hall of Famer, among many accolades, Geri Petito. We also have the renowned Dr. Thomas Miller with us today, and we're going to be chatting with him on some various health issues and what we can do to heal our bodies while we're still on the book subject. So this is my book, and it's a little more on the lighter side. It is called You Can Always Find a Flush in There, and it has some very interesting stories about things that happen to you in the restrooms, especially if you're traveling in public restrooms. And then there's a business tip and how it relates to starting a business or keeping your business going. So right now, we're out of them. So if you'd like to get a copy, just reach out to me on Facebook, and I will get you a copy as we move to get these on Amazon. We also helped produce this book, The Best Dog, by our co-owner's wife, Sandy DiPiero, and this one is on Amazon and on Book Baby, so you can find that. Again, you can always reach out to me for any of the books, Geri's, mine. I don't know what Dr. Miller has in the pipeline. He'll share with us. But you can reach out to me or Geri for anything that we ever talk about here on Hamilton
Always.
Radio. So before we get into you, Dr. Miller, I've got some shout-outs I want to do. First of all, yesterday, I was at the LPGA tournament, which was televised a little bit later on yesterday. They have the final rounds today, so that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't have a real personal connection with anybody there. My other shout-outs give me a personal connection, so let's talk about the last 2 weeks that have been so crazy for me. I did a story on the Ms. New Jersey Senior America pageant, and we had last year's winner, Furley Almonte, on one of our other radio shows. So I want to give a shout out to the pageant director, Terry Mead, to the state administrator, Johan Santori, to 2022 winner, Betty Jean Pace, to 2023 winner, Furley Almonte, and to the new winner, 2024, which just took place about 10 days ago, Lenore Sibeli Lambert. You have to be 60 years plus to enter this pageant. And let me tell you something, the talent competition was off the hook. So if you want to see it online and you're not local, you can go to shorelocalnews.com and read the article online, or you can pick up a copy of Shore Local Magazine anywhere around town, Wawas and places like that that have the free publications. So congratulations to all you guys. The pageant was off the hook this year. Of course, their standard entertainment is Max Valentino and Bobby Fischetti, who
That's
you
right.
know. And Max is going to be on America's Got Talent this year. So we're so excited, and we
Yep.
wish him all the best and root him on.
They were here live in studio. Yep.
So I also want to give a shout out to the Special Olympics, which started on Friday. And they do their opening ceremonies right here in Trenton at TCNJ. And I was lucky enough to be there as a former coach and lifeguard with my sister's company, the Brigantine Aquatic Center. We have a Special Olympics team that qualified. They have to go through 2 qualifications to get to the state level.
Okay.
And the state level was here yesterday. And I found out on the way here to the show that our team of boys won gold.
That's pretty cool.
So that's really, really cool. 3,200 athletes competing in this year's Special Olympic Games, SONJ 2024, Special Olympics New Jersey Summer State Games. Congratulations, I'm wearing this shirt.
Yay!
So we have a lot going on in town. Wasn't there a lot going on coming up here today on
yeah.
206?
Yeah.
Piccalilli has a car show, and or people walking all over the road. It's crazy. So with no further ado, welcome, Dr. Thomas
Thank
Miller.
you.
How are you?
I'm
so
doing-
happy you could be here with us.
Well, I'm glad I made the trip up here.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
it's nice. This studio is beautiful. So you guys reach out to Jerry if you want to come in studio, because it's just beautiful here and comfortable,
It's
and we
awesome.
love it.
It's
So,
awesome.
Dr. Miller, I know you're a doctor of chiropractic, yet you have a lot of things going on. Tell us a little bit, just like you did on one of the other shows you were
Mm-hmm.
on with us. Tell us a little bit how you got started and how this all came about for you.
Well, it's an interesting story because sometimes I sit down and try to really figure out how did I get to this place. And the only thing that I could come up with when I look at it is I really believe that, you know,
Yes, stay close.
I'm just a firm believer that God has his hand in everything that we do. And as a young child, I remember mentioning this to you on the other show that we did, that as a young kid, I would go to Philadelphia every summer to hang out with my grandmother and grandfather, who lived on 45th and Chestnut in West Philadelphia. And each week she would take me along with another one of my cousins, and we would get on the bus, go up to 61st and Chestnut. She would get out, we would get off the bus, go into this office, and probably was there like no more than maybe 10 minutes, and then we'd come out, go to do what we had to do. And it was years later that I realized and found out that the person she was going to was a chiropractor. And so my grandmother had been going to a chiropractor pretty much most of her life. And then years later, you know, I was suffered with asthma pretty, you know, really bad, and taken all kinds of medications growing up in Elwood, New Jersey. And I remember at the age of 19, taking a medication, had a really, really bad reaction to it. And I don't know what a heart attack feels like, but I can tell you it felt like my heart was going to just explode through my chest. And it was very, you know, a scary situation. And so a young lady that I was dating at the time, you know, said, why don't you consider going to my chiropractor? And again, not knowing that my grandmother had been going to a chiropractor, and I really did not really get to know that until I was actually in chiropractic school. So I decided to go. I was under care with Dr. Marty Brown, who you said is your personal chiropractor.
Yep.
And I started seeing Dr. Marty Brown 3 days a week. And after 6 months, I didn't have any asthma. And so, you know, at that time I was in college, you know, finished up my undergraduate degree at the New England College in Henniker, New Hampshire, finished there, came home, worked for the Division of Youth and Family Services for a year. Then I moved over to Stockton State College, which is now Stockton State University. And while I was there, working with a good friend of mine, Peter Mercado, and Dr. Chuck Tantillo, who we were involved with this program called the EOF program, I was an academic advisor. While I'm there, I'm thinking, this is not what I really want to do. I love what I was doing, but I knew that that was not my calling. So I went to my supervisor at the time, Peter Mercado, and said to him, look, I'm going to go back to school, get my, finish my pre-med sciences, and I'm going to go to chiropractic school. And he said, you're not going to do anything. So that kind of gave me some encouragement to go on and pursue that. So I did it. And then I enrolled at Life Chiropractic College, which is now Life University down in Marietta, Georgia. Finished a 4-year program in 3 years by just completing a 4 quarters each year. Graduated in October 1981. Took like 3 years because I wanted to go and get like 3 different licenses. So I took the New Jersey State Board exam, which at the time was a medical board. Then I went to Georgia, took that state board exam, and then I went to Louisiana and took the state board exam in Louisiana. Got all 3 licenses, and then finally decided to open practice here in New Jersey. So that's been, now this October will be 40 years that I've been in practice as a chiropractor.
How long you've been in practice?
Wow.
Are you still practicing? Do you still hold your license in the other states?
I actually, I have my license here in New Jersey and also in Georgia. I let the Louisiana license go because I realized my wife is from Louisiana, and I realized that we probably would never go back to live permanently, but I always wanted to have a license where I wanted to practice so that even in my retirement years, I really have this mindset of what I call retirement in practice, and that would be practicing 3 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week, which I do now. I'm in my office Monday through Thursday, 9 to 1, 3 to 6, and I love it. I mean, I just love that type of schedule, and I get to work with hundreds of people. And my whole goal in terms of chiropractic, many people go to chiropractors thinking that the goal of chiropractic is to help get rid of pain. And I really share with my patients that if you really want to get rid of pain, obviously medicine would be a good way to do that because their mindset and their goal is really to manage symptoms. But in chiropractic, our goal and objective really is to remove interference from the spinal system and allow this innate potential of the human body to bring about a normalization of your body to function properly. And it takes a lot of work in terms of, I think the hardest thing that I have to do in my practice is educating people about how magnificent the human body works if you allow the system to do what it was designed and programmed to do. And in order to do that, people have to become more conscious of what they put into their bodies. When I say what they put in their body, I'm talking about what they put in terms of food, drink, thoughts, what they see and what they hear. Mm-hmm. All of those avenues have an impact on human health and the body's ability to perform the way that it was designed to perform. The culture that we live in today, and I'm sure you all, you're aware of it, Jerry, I'm sure you're aware of it. You told me a story about your dad. That we live in a world today that is dominated through the whole mindset that if there's something wrong with you, that the solution to your problem is to take drugs. Mm-hmm. If the drugs don't work, cut it out. So we live in a system that has really caused people to move away from understanding their God-given abilities, understanding that whatever the body needs, God has put into the human body to allow it to function the way it was supposed to function. And the only thing that we have to do, and so when I think about it, one of the things I've learned over the years in chiropractic talked about when we do and perform what we call the chiropractic adjustment to the spine. When we do that adjustment, it is like connecting man, the physical, with God, the spiritual, because there's an innate life force going through the human body. and that intelligence that is in the body can do what it's supposed to do if we allow it. But it can't do that if we're putting things in the body that's going to interfere with the body's ability to do what it's supposed to do. And that becomes a challenge because, you know, the media has so much control over people's mindsets. You know, I think back about what happened during COVID. I mean, you know, you're talking about people being controlled. You know, I kept my office open. I had to minimize the hours because people were afraid to come out. And so what I learned through COVID was that it's unfortunate that, you know, we live in a world where people don't think for themselves anymore. And you know, the other thing is I look at as a young child growing up, I remember getting a vaccine, and I still have the mark. I call it the mark of the beast.
Polio, right?
Okay?
Polio, right?
It was the MMR, measles,
right, yeah,
mumps,
right,
and rubella.
Right.
And I still have that mark on my arm. And now today, children are taking over 80 some odd vaccines. And yet we have been, and look, I have nothing against that. If you decide that you want to do that, that's fine with me.
I
But
do. I
don't-
have something against it.
Yeah, you know, but what I'm saying is,
I'm just
don't.
being an
That's
idiot.
good. I'm with you.
Yes.
But don't put that on me
Right,
and make me
right.
feel guilty if I don't do it, and if I don't want my children to do
There
it.
you go.
Because I have a belief that with my children, that God has allowed me to have those children with my wife, that when those children come out in the world, that if that child can function 9 months in their mother's womb without any outside interference, because what I've learned over the years also, I take and go back when my wife was pregnant and other women that I knew, most women would not allow you to do anything to their bodies. Don't drink no alcohol, don't smoke a cigarette, don't do this, that, and the other. And yet,
Yep.
they come along and indoctrinate you to believe that it's okay for you to put a foreign substance in your body, making you believe that's going to protect you and that child.
Preach it, baby.
Right? And I know, I just know for a fact that every time that you put a substance in your body, you weaken your body's ability to allow your immune system to do exactly what it was designed and programmed to do. And so that means that every time your child takes a vaccine, that whatever comes up in the environment, your body that child will lose its ability to produce the antibody for that particular thing that it's trying to fight against. Now, if that child doesn't put that stuff in their body, then it will produce natural immunity. And you can't tell me that natural immunity is not better for you than some immunity that you think that you're doing by putting something in somebody's body. That's to me creating a Frankenstein generation of people. So
Interesting.
when I look at that, you know, even with the food we eat today, I mean, I call it Frankenfood. It's not real food, yet as parents, I see people putting, giving the children all kinds of crap. You know, like I never fed our children. I mean, I took the responsibility as a father to prepare my children's meals. And that may sound crazy to some people out there, but that's what I did because I wanted my children to grow up healthy. I made sure that when it came time for them to start eating solid foods, I went out and bought, carrots, sweet potatoes, whatever that I could make, steamed it, ground it up, and fed it to them.
And all organic.
And all it was at the time. Well,
All organic, guys.
You know what I'm saying? And again, even I sometimes, with people who say, okay, organic is too expensive to buy. Well, okay, if it is, just get some natural fruit and vegetables, and you're going to see the difference in how your child is going to function over the years. I'm also a firm believer that whatever we input into our child, when it comes to discipline, when it comes to motivating them, one of the things that I would do with my children when they were young, and I'm talking about young, when I was taking them on to their daycare sitter, they would be in the back seat of the car, and I would, at the top of my voice, have them repeat after me, I feel happy, I feel healthy, I feel terrific. My sons today, and especially my 31-year-old son, will tell you that is something he learned, and I can tell you there's a difference in who he is as a person because of that. We've always tried to raise our children to let them know that there is nothing in this world that they can't do. If they put their minds to it, they can do it. My children have been adjusted since they were infants. To this day, my 31-year-old and my 23-year-old and my wife get adjusted every single week. The only time that my son, who's 23, doesn't get adjusted every week is when he's away at college. But they will come to the office. I have an adjusting table at my home. I make sure that they get adjusted every single week, and sometimes more than that when they come to me and ask that they need to get adjusted. Why? It's not because I'm trying to help them get rid of back pain or neck pain. It's because I know that your brain and nerve system it's the master control system of the human body. It controls, conducts, coordinates every single activity of the human body. And when your 24 movable bones in the spine are in proper alignment, your body will have the ability to function at a higher level. You take just about every world-class athlete out in the world today. They're all under chiropractic care. Not because they're in back pain or because they have neck pain. It's because they understand the science behind getting us adjusted on a regular basis increases their performance. So that's what I want for my family, and that's what I want for myself. I have a good friend of mine, Dr. Eric Plaster, who wrote a book called The Living the 100-Year Lifestyle, and that's something that I preach to my patients all the time. I want you to learn how to live the 100-year lifestyle. I believe that firmly in our scriptures. It talks about that we should live to be 120 years old. And my thinking is, if that's there, then why not do what we can do to be, to have our bodies be able to live to that age, and not with Alzheimer's and dementia and all this stuff. Because look, you look back when my grandmother died at 93, I think she was 92, 93 years of age. She didn't have any of that.
Yeah, neither did mine.
Okay?
My Nana lived to 100, had none of that, and her daughter is now 97 and has none of that. She tells me, Geraldine, you don't have to Google. I tell you what to do.
Yeah.
All right, 97.
So, when we look at that, we have to start asking the question, just like with our children today. Our children today have more chronic illnesses than in any other time in history. We have kids now who are 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 years old with type 2 diabetes. Now, come on, man. Where does that come from? It has to come from what we're putting into our children. I don't say what we're putting, it's what we allow. Because we as parents, we're the ones who have to go out and do the shopping. I had a patient come to my office one morning, had a 3 or 4 year old child with her, and 9 o'clock in the morning, it's got a chocolate Hershey bar, and I asked her, so why would you give that to your child first thing in the morning?
Why would you give it to her,
anyway?
period?
But first thing in the morning, and she said, well, you don't know how my child is. If I don't give it to him, I said, he's gonna do what? And so that made me realize that our parents today, unfortunately, we just don't know. We're not educated about our health and healing. We just follow the mainstream. I hear people saying that, well, it's too expensive to do this. It's too expensive. I go to the produce market and I can buy, just bunches of vegetables. And I can go home and, they can last me for a week. And to me, it's better to do that than to go to these dollar stores and buy all this crap that they have in it. Because to me, dollar store, look, and this is not knocking you guys out there, but those stores that are in our neighborhoods today, they're like, to me, they must be selling people crack, cocaine. Because all this, just about everything in the stores is garbage. You know what I'm saying? And it's all addictive.
I want to get back to something you said about teaching your children to think positive and be happy and healthy and
Yes.
say that. And we learned growing up in the business world that a negative thought can live in your mind rent-free and grow. And the positivity needs to get rid of that. So do you think that other chiropractors do the same thing? Because I don't know that everyone's on the same page that you are, even in your own field.
Yeah.
That I think it's very important that on top of the health, that our minds our minds
Yes, I
become
got you.
thoughts, or thoughts become things become
Yes.
feelings, that we stay positive.
And I think it's important. And yes, there are chiropractors out there. I know I belong to two organizations that I go to their seminars several times a year. One is Dynamic Essentials, which I go to down in Georgia twice a year, and then twice a year they have a function down in Clearwater, Florida. And the other one is New Beginnings. New Beginnings is here in New Jersey. They usually have their seminars 2 to 3 times a year up here in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And we talk mostly about philosophy and being positive, instilling that concept, because it's important. Like, even one of the things that I do in my office, I have a gratitude thing on the wall, and it's there until, so when patients come in and they do it, what are you grateful for today? Because one thing I realized too, being in practice and just life, that if you can, when you get up in the morning, if you can write down things that you're grateful for, 4 or 5 things that you're grateful for, 3 or 4 things in terms of positive actions you can take for that day, and the other one is service. What service can you provide today without someone knowing that you're doing that service for them? So in other words, the whole concept of giving, loving, serving, and doing without expectation in return is a concept. It's a principle that if we were to do that, can actually cause people's lives to change. Because I know this, that when I or any human being gets into a state of being like this whole like funky attitude, negative, whatever, that's when your attention is turned in on you. You're thinking about just yourself. So the only way you get, to me, that you turn that around and create some positivity in your life, we call it a gas card. GAS, gas, the G stands for gratitude, A for action, S for service. And these are just little practices that if one could actually start to practice every day, it would make a significant change in our lives. So we do this in like within our practice. There are chiropractors, many of them out there. And again, like I said, with the DE Dynamic Essential group and also with the New Beginnings group, they are out there. And obviously there are chiropractors out there who want to be medical doctors. I don't know why, because we have enough drug pushers out there already. So
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense to me why you would
Yep.
want to emulate a culture of people that really, when you think about it, just even with COVID, people were locked down, they were shut down, you can't speak. Young children had to be masked, which means that there's a whole 2 to 3 years that young children were not able to see each other's face, which meant that you could not see expressions that you need to see in order for you to gauge who you're connecting with and how you can, make it through the environment that you're in throughout that day. So there's going to be a whole generation of young people that I think that have lost out on the natural developmental years, that they're just going to be lost. You understand?
So a few years ago, I went to a seminar, right? And I think Geri Petito was the speaker, and he was the one who taught us about meridian lines and how we can play around with them. But on top of that, there was a whole audience full of people, right? And so they had everybody make a sad, angry face in the room, and the whole energy of the room, you could feel it just went down.
Dropped.
Then they had everybody make a
Yeah.
happy face, and you could feel the energy
Yes.
come back up again. So it's amazing when you talked about not seeing your faces.
Yes.
That energy that we give off is
Yes.
something that we need to feed off of each other, as human beings,
Yeah.
and as what we produce into the world.
When I did one of my chapters in my book, Mind Over Matter kind of thing, and our thoughts, true story, I laid in bed and I started thinking of the ocean and the waves and rain, and I was all happy. And I deliberately lied to myself, and I put these horrible, horrible thoughts in. Within 30 seconds, guys, my heart started pounding. And I jump up and I'm like, okay, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. If we can do that to ourselves while we're lying to ourselves, and we know we're lying, and that happens, imagine when we think what we're telling ourselves, negativity, truth.
Yes.
Think about that.
Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to Dr. Sarnoff too, because I know you and Marty Brown
Mm-hmm.
and David Sarnoff had like a little collaboration thing going.
Band
and
of
I don't know
brothers.
if you're still doing it or not, but I mean, I want the listeners to know that they can collaborate
Yeah.
with people in their own field or in their own situation and meet together. And it doesn't have to be on a big scale.
Right.
You know, it can be on a small scale, 2, 3, 4 people, you know?
Yeah, and we did that, and it was a great time. We would do, which we would actually get a book, and I think the time we were together, we probably went through 3 books, and it was, different chiropractors, Dr. Joe Strauss, Dr. Reggie Gold, and one other book I can't recall. But what we did was we would read the book, and we would get together every week, and we would discuss it, just different things in terms of philosophy. Because my feeling is like, just like anything else, it takes time, intensity, and repetition to get things done in life. So, if we continue to sharpen, you hear that phrase of iron sharpening iron. We called our group the Band of Brothers, and we would get together and really just dig in on these things so that it would keep us on our mark, because the world in which we live in can really take you off if you're not true to your goal and objective in life. See, I look at myself, I'm a chiropractor. I don't want to be anything else out there in the field other than a chiropractor. That's my calling. And so when a patient comes to me, I want to make sure that they get the chiropractic story, and then they can decide for themselves whether they want to travel that path. I'm not knocking them against medicine, because there are points and times that people will need to take medicine if they
Emergencies,
allow
yes.
it, right? I think that in America, that the emergency healthcare system is probably the best system out
That's
there in
right.
the world. But when it comes to wellness care,
The worst.
it's the worst.
The
Two
worst.
ends of the
So
spectrum.
we know that when we look at the leading causes, the top 3 causes of death in America today, it's going to be heart disease, cancer, or cancer and heart disease, one of those 2. And then the third is going to be iatrogenic or medical causes.
Yeah.
So people have to understand that, because if you don't, then that says to me you're not paying attention, and which means that you're going to allow a system to that is the 3rd leading cause of death. You're going to allow yourself to go into that system, and you're going to be one of those statistics.
That's right.
Okay, so we have to do everything that we can to really, to really learn and be open to learning about what we can do to keep our bodies healthy. And I just feel that, to me, and I'm saying this, as a chiropractor, if you're not under chiropractic care, I would say something is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because and this is why I take the time with every one of my patients to really educate them about what chiropractic does. It's about removing interference from your nerve system so that your body has the ability to do exactly what it's designed and programmed to do. We have cars every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. If it's not an electric car today, you're going to go change the oil. You're going to get all these things done to it. I knew that when my wife and I buy vehicles, we keep them for at least 10 years. Okay? At least. I mean, the car that my wife has been 2012, so it's like, 12 years old now, and we still have it.
Mine's a 2007.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And if you take good care of it, that car's going to run. So that, to me, the same thing is true with your body. I mean, if you take care of it, I tell patients when they come in, like, you got to drink water. And I ask patients, how much water do you drink a day? Oh, I don't like water. Why? I don't like the way it tastes. Well, water doesn't have any taste. But what that tells me is that they're used to drinking Kool-Aid, soft drinks, the
That's right.
Gatorades.
Sugary stuff.
They're so used to drinking things with taste to it, not realizing that all they're doing is creating poisons and really intoxicating their system. If you don't get the water in, the body can't function right. I mean, if we know that the body's about 75, 80% water, that tells me that you need to put that into your system. The other thing I talk about when we look at this whole chiropractic and the healing and how to have really optimal health in your body, you have to get proper rest. People burning themselves out. And I've learned for myself, I've always been in the gym. I always like taking good care of my body. And I really like getting my sleep, and I just love it. I think I tease my wife about this, and we have a TV in our bedroom, and I would never do that again. I think that's one of the worst things we could ever do is put a TV in our bedroom.
Oh no, I can't live without my
Okay.
TV.
I
Sorry.
don't have it in my room anymore.
Yeah, it's the worst.
I turn
and,
it
and
off.
I tell
when
you
I go to
why.
sleep, but I have to have my TV.
But and the thing is if you have it on, even when you turn it off, the frequencies from that TV are still coming in and affecting your sleep. Okay? But when you do turn it on, even if you think you're sleeping, those flickering lights will interfere with your body's ability to get into deep REM sleep. Okay? So we have to get the water, we got to get sleep, we have to make sure that we exercise, right? We got to exercise the body because when we get movement, it also helps to flush and get your lymphatic system working properly, getting your body stronger. And we have to have a positive mental attitude, right? You got to have that. I mean, so we have to keep feeding. You got to brainwash yourself, because if you don't brainwash yourself to what you want in a very positive way, trust me that the world out there is going to use your mind, because it does it every time you turn that TV on. You know, we used to call it the what is it called? What was the term that you would tell this? Like the idiot box. Okay? Because all they're doing is programming. You don't realize it.
Subliminal messages. And
They're
things like
programming you. That's why they call them TV stations. They're programs. So, you get people who are watching those murder mystery shows, the news. It's all being programmed into your mind, and you wonder why we have so much craziness out in the community.
And there's a lot of it out there.
Right? And so we do that, and then we also have to make sure that the spine and nerve system is in proper alignment so that your brain and nerve system can function right. And I think that one of the most important things, one of the things I really love about chiropractic is a very spiritual profession. And I realize today that when I look at the world today, when you hear about all of these murders in different parts of the world and cities throughout the United States, I really firmly believe it's because people have become disconnected with their creator. I'm a firm believer that
110%.
Right? So
Yep.
I'm convinced that when you as a human being are connected with your God, and I don't care what that is for you, there's no way in the world, if you're connected with your God force, that you can act against another human being and take their life. There's a scripture that says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. There's no way in the world that you could inflict harm on another human being if you love them like you love yourself. But in order to love yourself, you have to have a relationship with your creator. And I think that, when I look at this country and I look at what's going on in the world today, I think that, many people out here have just lost that connection
Jerry,
with
share
their
the
creator.
story about how you got started in radio, because you said that God told you to
write my book.
to write your book,
And then that's how
it started,
So,
right?
Yeah. So I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. Okay. And I was woken up in the middle of the night. And listen, nobody's going to tell me this didn't happen. And I heard a voice, write your book. And I giggled, and I was like, you want me to write my book? And I heard, write your book. Well, I say God wrote the book because I didn't tell my family. I said, I fast every year for a month. I lock myself in my house on a water or juice fast. I have a home colonic system, and I stay in. So I just said to my family, okay, I'm going to be fasting. I didn't tell anyone. And I hand wrote the book, and it was done in 3 weeks, so God wrote the book. So I called a friend of mine, and I said, listen, I don't know what to do with this. I hand wrote it. So she came over. Her uncle, he's gone now, used to be a publisher. So she got it in format. And she says, okay, Jared, we're going to send it to, 20 different publishers. They may like it. They may not. It could take years. I said, no. I heard Simon & Schuster. So she giggled, sends it to Simon & Schuster. Within 5 days, I'm on a 3-way with my friend and Simon & Schuster. So God wrote the book. But because of that book, Doc G from Hamilton Radio saw my book online in 2016 and said, Jared, we want to interview you. So DJ Danny interviewed me, and he said, you need to come along. You have a radio voice. And I laughed, and I said, no, that's not for me. I'm an artist. I'm this, I'm that. And then he bothered me for a month, 2 months, whatever it was. Come on. And I started thinking about it, and I prayed. And I said, Lord, you have to hit me over the head, because God can't whisper to me, okay? I said, you have to let me know if this is what you want me to do. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and this is what came to me. You were in trouble every day of your life in school for talking. Are you kidding me? And here I am. And now I'm in the Hall of Fame, and it's all God. And God's got my book, Helping People. And what I didn't know was the reason it had to be written then was because within 30 days after my book came out, 2 family members needed my book. And it's helped save their lives.
Awesome.
That's crazy, right?
And that's why. Yes, that's crazy.
So I lost my mom to an aggressive brain tumor back in 2008. And I started, 5 months later, we lost my dad. So my mom was his caregiver, and when she was gone, it was just ridiculous. But that's a long story. Anyway, so I decided to start a foundation in their name. And I think I told you on the other show, I have a bill in the Senate office to make my mother's birthday a day to recognize smaller charities. So my husband likes to sleep with the sports channel. So after he falls asleep, I turn off the TV. But we're sleeping with the sports channel, and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to start this foundation because why do we need one more thing for somebody to try to give to? So I fell asleep that night, and the sports channel was on.
Uh-oh.
And I woke up, too, with a voice in my head, although it wasn't the voice of God, although it might have been. He just disguised himself. I woke up to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar talking, and I met him when I was a teenager. And I woke up, and I woke up to him saying, one person can make a difference.
God chooses to put
Right?
people in our
your
lives.
path, right?
Yeah.
So I opened the foundation the next day, and we're not a 501c3 because I lost a friend to the same aggressive brain tumor, and the money we had saved to make a 501c3 I gave to his family.
Okay.
Yet I work with the National Brain Tumor Society, and I can hook up with them
See?
whenever I want to do something. And the images you see on the screen there of my bags are bags that give back to charity. And so we're working, right now you can find them at a local boutique in Margate. So they are there. We're still working on the I logo because we had to change manufacturers, and we don't have that particular logo right now. However, all the bags give back to charity, all the bags have a gift inside, and all the bags have a positive message
I love
on the
mine.
inside and outside. Yep, I know you have one. A few of my celebrity friends
Yep.
have one and carry it around, so I'm happy about it. We even have the Philly Fanatic holding one of my bags.
How cool
so
is that?
That was cool. But anyway, getting back to that God puts people in your in
Can
your
I tell
path.
one more God
Right.
story?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, guys, listen. Everyone who knows me knows I consider myself the biggest Elvis fan, okay? I know everybody out there who loves Elvis thinks they are, but, honey, I am. No. All right. So, anyway, when people become Christians in the beginning, they like to say, you're going to hell if you do this. You're going, until they find their way. Okay, everybody, when they find God in the beginning, they go to this extreme, and it turns a lot of people off. So I was listening to this young guy who happens to probably be either gone now or in jail again, who I interviewed. I won't mention his name. And he was a drug addict, violent, and he gave his life to Christ at the time and changed his life, had a baby, and I think he was abusive to his wife, and he might be dead now or back in jail for sure. Haven't heard from him at all. But when he first became a Christian, he did this whole show on how if you idolize singers or actors, you're going to hell, blah, blah, blah. So I say to God, all right, Lord, listen. I have an Elvis poker room. I had an Elvis poker table made. I have Elvis everywhere. Ava knows. I said, all right, Lord,
Huge
listen.
fan also.
This is a tough one. I don't think I idolize Elvis. I said, but if you want me to get rid of all my Elvis stuff, I will. You got to hit me over the head with this, Lord. Okay, you cannot whisper. True story. 2 days later, I get a phone call from my pastor friend who moved away about an hour away, him and his family, a beautiful family. Pastor Mark, and he says, Jer, give me your new address. He's like, I got to send you something. They've been in my closet forever. I don't ask him what. Give him my new address. 2 days go by, 3 days, and I receive 4 or 5 original 45s of Elvis Presley in cardboard cases that they used to have the record in. The price tag was 77 cents. I said, what? Thank you, God. So I call Pastor Mark and I go, okay, are you ready for the story? He goes, tell me, because we always do this back and forth to each other. I said, I tell him the story. And he was like, Jer, my mother was a huge Elvis fan. They were hers. They've been on my closet shelf forever. I walk by them every day. All of a sudden, something said, send these to Jerry. Tell me that wasn't unbelievable.
Right? Is that crazy?
So
how
I don't
we get
have
to
to get rid of my Elvis stuff.
You know, I'm a big believer in signs from God.
Yes.
I really am. And I don't care what people think about
Yes.
that. Because I grew up in a Jewish and Italian household. My grandfather converted to Judaism, changed his name, and we found out we had a baby born on the black market in our family.
Oh, wow.
It's a whole story. But I keep a lot of our, we grew up, my grandfather converted to Judaism, so I grew up in a Jewish household, yet we weren't very religious. I keep a lot of the traditions up for my family, yet I'm more spiritual than religious.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm open to everybody's beliefs, and I think everybody should believe the way they need to, yet believe in something. because
Believe,
it's bigger-
guys.
It's bigger than we
Just
are.
don't believe in a chair like AA tells you it's okay to do. That's not your higher power, okay?
But it's so amazing. I mean, I think God's putting something in my lap right now that is going to be a very
Okay.
good thing. I won't know till next week for sure. Yet I'll be able to talk
Okay.
about it after next week. So I know that God put that in my lap.
All right.
Because it's been a crazy time. So back to you, Dr. Miller. What else do you want to share with us? We're getting ready to wind down. a
Yeah,
little bit,
well,
so-
I think, one of the things that I want to share is kind of on the lines of where we're talking now is, having that trust and faith and belief. Really deeper than that is knowing that there is a God, And one of the things that I do as a practice in the morning, I had the opportunity to meet one of my colleagues, Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm sure you're familiar with him. He
Yep.
really got into the whole thing of what they call neuroplasticity, really teaching and showing people how you can rewire your brain to think the way you want to think. And one of the ways that we do that is when you get up in the morning, you have to really grasp your mind, because if you don't, just like we're in this room right now, there are many airways. Things are going through this environment right now that you and I can't hear, but it's there, right? And so, I share the story sometimes of, going into someone's home who the husband and wife were having an argument. As soon as you step in that environment, you feel it.
Yeah.
And then you could go to another friend's house, and it's just so much peace that when you walk in, you feel it, right? So we know that energy is there. So what we have to be mindful of is that when we wake up in the morning, and I usually get up sometimes 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'll take that time to go and do a meditation. And I love the meditation that Dr. Joe Dispenza uses. It's a morning meditation where you take your mind and you just kind of frame your day how you want it to be. You just frame it. And then create the emotions around that feeling as though that whatever it is that you want to have happen in your life, that it's already happened. Scripture tells us that whatsoever things you desire when you pray, believe that you have them, you shall receive them. It's a statement of fact, okay? Once you do that and you create that emotion and feeling around it, you have to, just release it, give it to God, and then when you come back to this environment, you have to really be able to be mindful of that thought that you put out there, because as soon as you step out in your car and someone's beeping their horn, you could get off track, and then you lose it all. So you have to be mindful of that and just stay the course, and just know that, that your Creator's with you. If we stay connected with him, he hasn't stepped away. It's that we step away, and
you can see that stuff in children and pets.
yeah.
If you're having an argument, either your kids will get between you or they'll run the other way.
Yeah.
Your pets will run. They can sense
They
that.
feel it.
And
Yeah.
and as a child, they say their minds are not
Yeah.
tampered with yet, so to say. So
Yeah.
they kind of
No, my
feel
pet would
everything.
attack the person that was yelling with
right?
me.
But still, they feel that energy. They
I'm
feel
not
it.
being funny.
They feel it more
Yes.
than we do, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And so one other thing I would say too, that I think is important, that there are probably a lot of people out there right now that know that there are things that they need to do to change their life in terms of their health and their wellness and well-being. And many times we'll just say, okay, well, I'll start tomorrow, I'll start next week, I'll start on Monday, I'll start on Tuesday, whatever. I say make it urgent and get on it now. Okay? I'm just a firm believer that, you know, if there's something there to be done, you know it. It's not like you don't know. Just take action and do it. I have, you know, a lot of people that come to me and they want help, but they're just not ready to make that decision. And my thing is, make the decision, because you don't want to be the one, I wish I could or woulda.
Is there one simple thing you can say to someone to get them started? Because I know people in my life that just don't believe in any of that.
Yeah.
And like, how would you get someone? Like, what advice can you give to someone that, well, I don't know how to get started. I don't know how to meditate, or I don't know how to be happy, or I don't know how to be positive. Or what's one thing you could say to help someone get started?
Yeah, what I would say is this. You know, my son, I have a son who's 48, and you know, he's been struggling with weight and, you know, the whole nine. And one of the things I sent him the other day is, write down your why. Right? Why? Why do you want to be healthy? Why do you want certain things to happen in your life? I know for me, I'm 71. My youngest son is 23. So I have 4 grandchildren. I know that I'm going to have more grandchildren. My son Tyler, who just got married on the 31st, and my son Reese, I'm pretty sure once he finishes PT school, at some point he's going to get married. And so this is why I believe in living the 100-year lifestyle, because I want to be available to them. And I don't want to be a vegetable. I don't want to be one where people come to me and not know who I am. I don't know that my children's names. I want to be vital. And it may sound crazy, but I just feel that, just like when I go to the gym now, and whenever I punch in on the machine, your age, how much you want to weigh, I put in the age of 33. Right? Why? Because I want to push myself. Okay, I want to push myself like I'm a 33-year-old guy. Okay? So I'm always challenging myself to work harder, to do more. I don't know when God's going to take me away from here, but I know one thing, that as long as I'm here, I'm going to do the best that I can do. I'm going to do the best that I can. I want to look the best that I can, not because of ego. I do what I do because I want to be an influence on other people's lives. When I have people come to my office, when my children, and I can go out here and work out with my kids, and we're in a group of like 10 people right now. We connect with each other every single day. You know, what we did in the gym this morning, what we ate, how much do we weigh? That's an accountability group. So I think that what people can do is really sit down and write out, why is it that you want to have the things that you want to have in your life? Why do you want to have great health? You know, I just think that it's important to know your why, because once that's there, then the motivation for it will come.
I want to add something real quick to what you just said, because it's amazing. I tell everybody to write, okay? Okay, write to yourself. Okay, but here's what else your son has to do. Not just, why do I want to be healthy? Why do I continue to be unhealthy?
Right.
Tell him to write that, because that works. Like, when I do coaching for people, it's so crazy you said that. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. All right? When I do coaching for people, I find myself saying to them, why are you okay with being so unhealthy? And I'm going to start doing what you say as well, like your why as to why you should be healthy. But my first thing to them is, why are you okay? Because my mother was so unhealthy and didn't care. Mm. And I vowed never to be like my mom. So I'm going to start saying what you say, and also tell your son to add to his why. Why is it okay that I'm unhealthy?
Right.
Okay?
Good question. Good question.
That's great. That's great. I have a gratitude journal I write in every day.
Yeah.
So it's and it sits right there on the table. So when my daughter was still living at home, I would say, "Here's the book. Anything you want to write,
see,
just when
I love
you walk
it.
by,
yeah,
put it in
love
there,
it.
because they say the faintest ink
I love
is
it.
better than the best of memories, right?
That's
I love
right.
it.
All right. Well, we're going to get ready to wrap it up. So, final thoughts, Miss Geri? Anything you would like to say?
So I do want to say some final thoughts. If anybody out there is struggling with God, reach out to me, because I'll pray with you. Okay? And I'll have you believing God is real in less than 5 minutes, guys. So if you're struggling, reach out to me. I will beat the Jesus in you, baby. And also health. I believe truly that the majority of people already know how horrible the food is out there, but they're choosing to eat it anyway because it's easier. And I believe that a lot of people feel like they don't have the strength to overcome what they're okay with on a daily basis. Reach out to me. All my services to you are free. I can help you get to where you want to be, and then I'll have you go to this guy, okay? So reach out to me, guys.
And Dr. Miller, tell everybody where your office is located and also how they could reach you.
Yeah. So my office is called Miller Chiropractic Wellness Center. It's at 22 South Main Street in Pleasantville, New Jersey. Our office number is 609-383-9121. My website is drmillerchiro.com, and my email address, you can reach out to me at thmdc@comcast.net. And again, I'm available for anyone out there who needs to connect with me. I'll be more than happy. And I would tell you this, if you're out there, you're a human being, you have a spine, you need to be under chiropractic care.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, baby, yes.
And so I'm Ava Holly. Reach out to me also. Facebook, Ava Holly, public figure page. From there, you'll find all the other links, all the other pages where things wind up. And, Jerry, I know you have a big YouTube page, so reach out to there.
The
like
Geri
and
Petito
subscribe.
Show YouTube
Geri
channel.
Petito Show. For me, Facebook is the most user-friendly for me. I have a YouTube channel, but it doesn't
We'll
like
get
me.
you there.
Yeah,
We'll get
it
you
doesn't
there.
like me yet. But I do have a blog, avasallocations.com, at 80,000 viewers. So check out my blog. Jerry and I are going to do something fun next week
We
on
are.
another radio show. So stay with us, reach out to us. And guys, be kind. There is so much going on out there that is hitting us, as everybody said today, from left, from right, from center, from everywhere. Be kind. Let's achieve more in 2024. Let's be the people that God put us here to be, and let's help the others along the way. So
Yes.
thank you, guys. This is
Thank
Ava
you, Ava.
Holly. This
Thank
is
you.
Hamilton Radio. We are the Casual Chat, and we will be back here again next month, maybe with Geri Petito, but she's here all the time. Maybe with Dr. Miller, and he's been on a couple of other shows. And I want to give a shout out to our Hamilton Radio crew, Doc G, Ruben, and Ruben's going to take us out. So thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next month.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and
Safe
sound.
and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.